Well, the weekend is here, which is a great time to catch a movie. Let's take a look at some of the new films that are hitting screens with film critic Richard Crouse. Always great to chat, Rich. Let's get right into it, and let's talk about Hedda.
This is on Prime Video, so after the game tonight, if you're not out partying in the streets, you can check this out at home. And it stars Tessa Thompson in an updated version of Ibsen's 1891 play. She plays Hedda, the Hedda Gabler, who is a woman unsatisfied in her marriage. She's married to George, an academic, who is kind of dry, not all that exciting, and she is desperate to get some excitement in her life when they decide to throw a huge party at their very lavish estate that they can't afford in hopes that George will be able to do some networking and get a great job. She decides to bring a little chaos to the party, and the movie takes place in one night over the course of this party. And this is just an absolutely beautiful looking film. The period details are great, but it's really Tessa Thompson here as an updated Hedda Gabler that really sells the show. She is an agent of chaos, but the more you get to understand and know her character, you realize that it's a really interesting update for a modern audience. So I gave Hedda, which is now on Prime Video, 3.5 stars out of 5.
Well, let's talk about a kid-friendly animated monster movie, Stitchhead.
Yeah, this is kind of like gateway horror for kids, or a gateway monster movie. If they're too young for anything that has some actual thrills and chills in it, this is a story that's kind of like Tim Burton light, a little bit like Monsters, Inc. Think around that kind of the feel. And it's the story of Stitchhead, who is a little creature created by a mad doctor who lives in a castle full of other creatures created by this same doctor. And he sort of looks after them, makes sure that everything goes okay and they don't escape and freak out the villagers who live down the mountain. When a carnival comes to town and offers him a job, he sees it as a way of seeing the world and getting out and having some adventures, but soon realizes his place is at home with all his creature friends. And this is a story with imaginative characters. I think kids will like that. I think that the messages are good about belonging and loyalty and all that sort of thing. Parents might find the pacing a little off-putting for their taste, but I think kids will dig this. So I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. It is called Stitchhead, in theaters now.
Very curious about your thoughts on this next thriller starring what I think is maybe one of the great actresses of our time, Diane Lane, in Anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Diane Lane and Kyle Chandler play a couple who have been married for 25 years. At their anniversary party, their son brings Liz, his new girlfriend. Now, it happens that Liz is a student, formerly of Diane Lane's character, who she got kicked out of school for her radical views. Now she's written a book called The Change, which spawns a movement to sort of take back America and bring back America to, well, essentially to a totalitarian kind of government in the film. What this movie does really well is focus on the family and the effect that all these changes that are happening in the world have on them. It doesn't try and tell you the story of what's happening all over the United States. It tells you about one family, and it is achingly thrilling. You will find yourself moving to the front of your seat as you watch this, and great performances. And you're right about Diane Lane. She's fantastic in this. So I gave Anniversary, now playing in theaters, 3.5 stars out of 5.
Kind of sounds like art imitating life a bit in that one. Very cool.
Maybe so.
Nouvelle Vague, what's this all about?
This is about the French New Wave. So 1960 Paris. There's a group of film critics like Jean-Luc Godard and Truffaut and lots of others who are writing for a very Tony kind of movie magazine. But what they want to do is actually make films that challenge the conventions of Hollywood. And most successfully, Jean-Luc Godard made Breathless, a movie whose influence still echoes today. And that's what this movie is about. It is about the making of that movie, about the spirit of change that was everywhere in the air in Paris in 1960 and led to this remarkable movie being made. And the thing that I love about this movie is it's directed by Richard Linklater, who takes the style of the French New Wave and makes it his own in this film. So lots of jump cuts, lots of, kind of non-narrative storytelling, lots of really interesting ways of telling you the story. And it's beautiful looking. So I gave Nouvelle, which is now playing in theaters, 4 out of 5 stars.
Always appreciate that. So thank you so much, Rich. Have a great weekend.